All right, let's do a very sensitive video that can get us in trouble in the country where free speech is in the Constitution. We're going to talk about the Jews. Yes, the Jews. If you're not aware, in the United States, money is into politics. In other places of the world, we call it corruption. We think it's a bad thing, but in the United States, the Supreme Court has decided that actually giving politicians money is free speech. And so when you have organizations like AIPAC, it's not surprising because they are operating under the law. Because in America, money flows in politics. And so you gotta wonder, well, what exactly do they do? What is the American Israel Public Affairs Committee? What are they trying to accomplish? Well, as you guys know, one of the greatest allies of the United States, both in history and planet Earth, is the nation state of Israel. And so they share a lot of powerful values that if I were to name, some people in the comments would complain. But they are Judeo-Christian values. Hey, comment section, did you hear that? Judeo-Christian values. Trigger. Anyway, as it is normal for nations that share similar values, they operate on similar foreign policies. But sometimes, every now and then, once in a blue moon, their values do not align perfectly. And so this is where the brave men and women of AIPAC have to step in and make sure that the American politicians see things more clearly. That they understand that they have to make some compromises and realign themselves with the correct values, which are those of Israel. And so this is the purpose of AIPAC. And if you listen to Tucker Carlson or many other people that speak at interviews, they say that almost every single politician in Washington have their AIPAC guy. Again, I can't verify if this is true or not, but I did hear it in various interviews. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's the case because, as you can see here, it's one of several pro-Israel lobbying organizations and has been called one of the most powerful lobbying groups. This is from Wikipedia, but you can find other sources on Google that confirm this. I mean, again, this is not something hidden. This is not secret. Everyone knows it. And so the question is, what exactly do they do? Do they just pay politicians? It's like, here's $10,000, pass the bill? Well, from my research and what I could find is that when you have very close races, when you have elections, and the two candidates are very close, usually a couple of percentages differences. Well, that's when AIPAC steps in, and they look at the runners-up, and they wonder, what did they say about Israel in the past? And if one of them happened to say naughty things, or if one of them happened to have various policies that do not align with Israel, then they support the other guy. And so by doing this consistently over a long period of time, usually the people that win are the ones that align more with Israel points of view. And so this is the magic behind AIPAC. It's not that there aren't politicians in America that may disagree with Israel foreign policies. It's that their opponents are getting funded. And all of it, again, it's legal. And so it's no surprise when the United States of America and Benjamin Netanyahu historically had an excellent relationship. But something has changed recently, and the question is, what exactly is that? Why is it that all of a sudden we're noticing a couple of errors in the Trump administrations? Errors in judgment, let's put it like this. Things that look differently than what they used to look like before. And I believe the answer to this is that while indeed you can persuade politicians to see your point of view, the system requires the people to elect the politicians. And so there are cultural shifts that are happening grassroots, naturally, by themselves, which will influence what the politician thinks. Because you can, make sure that the politicians think correctly and they manage public opinion until they can't. Because there are some things that affect public opinion at a grassroots level that no amount of mainstream media, censorship, or academia can suppress them forever. And if you look at human history, you will notice this is the case. For instance, the church has tried to suppress the Renaissance for hundreds of years. But eventually, when an idea has to appear, it appears. The monarchy has suppressed the idea of a secular society, but the French Revolution appeared anyway. So no matter the effort, no matter what you do, when it's time for an idea, it's time for an idea. So what's happening in the situation of Israel? Well, you have both people on the left and on the right that are displeased with some of the current events for different reasons and at different levels. People on the left are displeased because they grew up in a progressive culture. Whether it was the school, the mainstream media, the job, whatever you're looking at, they were bombarded with the idea of woke. Like, they were constantly told that the cisgender white man is evil, imperialism bad, systemic racism is a scar on the soul, and Islam is a race. They were told that borders are scars on planet Earth, walls are racist. And so these people that grew up for the last 10 years with this being drilled into their heads to the point where they actually believe it, they're looking at Israel and what do they see? Well, they see Benjamin Netanyahu, a straight cisgender white man that is being aggressive and is building walls with a Muslim nation, the Palestinians, right? So they see color. They were trained to see color in school. Not seeing color is racial bigotry. That's what the schools taught them, right? That you're being privileged if you don't see color. And so they're looking at Israel, and despite the fact that they're aware of the terrorist attack from the Palestinians, and they know all of it, they still see Benjamin Netanyahu, and he's a cisgender straight white man. Nothing can change that. No context, nothing. And so if you go on Twitch, or you go in other places where you listen to what the young generation of leftists think, you'll notice that this is a grassroots thing. Like, no one has told them to think this way about Israel. It just happens based on what they were taught. Like, you changed their programming. You made them believe into woke ideology, and they're just applying the woke framework to the situation. And that's the conclusions that they're coming up with. And this is why you have at universities massive protests against Israel. This is why you have it throughout Europe. This is why in many places you have these leftists that are actively protesting against Israel. It's not that anyone is telling them to do it. They're arriving to this conclusion by themselves because of the way that they have been trained to view the world. But you know, Trump isn't a leftist. He's a right-winger. So why are right-wingers now against Israel policies? Are the right-wingers all of a sudden woke as well? Do they care about woke ideology? Well, the answer is no. The answer is that right-wingers now, they care about two things. Number one, lack of censorship. They have been censored systematically for the last 10 years for their personal beliefs. They have been censored on social media. They have been deboosted, deranked, shadow banned, demonetized, deplatformed. And so they view censors as evil people. It doesn't matter like if the censorship is justified or not. Every single right-winger has either experienced or has known someone else that experienced censorship on social media. And they are absolutely disgusted. They view the censor as vile people. And, you know, sometimes the censors are feminists. Other times the censors can be even corporations. Other times they can be activists. They hate them all the same. And so when you have an organization like the ADL, which is consistently on the side of censorship, to the point where they're even censoring ridiculous and benign things, such as the OK sign, or they're trying to accuse Steam of anti-Semitism because it has Pepe the Frog on its forums or it has jokes and sarcasm, well, these people are on the internet. They're seeing what's happening. It's happening in front of them. Just because they're being censored from not discussing doesn't mean that they don't use Steam and they don't see a platform that they like being unjustifiably targeted by activists. And so there is an amount of public goodwill that is constantly burning. Every single time you're censoring someone they like, or you're censoring one of their friends, or you're censoring themselves, it's like a timer. And that timer keeps going down. And that causes a grassroots sentiment. Again, they don't need leaders. They do not need some individual at a microphone to tell them what to think. It's like the public goodwill is eroding with every single individual case of censorship by the people affected by it. And when you censor someone, like for instance, if you censor, let's say, Alex Jones, you're not censoring one person. You're censoring all of the subscribers that demand they want to listen to him. You're not convincing the subscribers that they shouldn't listen to the man. What you are doing is you're depriving them. You're acting as you're better than everyone. And that arrogance is what drives the emotion behind the hatred for censorship. And so that's one group of people that are being upset on the right, the people who do not like censorship. The other group of people are the America First. The America First people are in the name. America First. Like, there's no debate. There's no confusion. There's no pussyfooting around the issue. They call themselves America First because they're not America Second or America Third. They're not Taiwan number one. They're America First. Why are they America First? Well, because they view themselves as citizens of America, voting for American politicians paid by their own labor. Their own taxpayer money is funding the politicians, and so they view themselves like the shareholders of a company. They want the CEO to represent the company's interests. They don't want the CEO to represent the interests of another company. Now, that doesn't mean that they're isolationists, because I keep hearing this all the time. It's like, oh, America First are isolationists. No. The CEO of a company should care about his own company first and foremost, and then they can care about other companies. So they're not against, the shareholder isn't against the CEO collaborating with another company, but they want that collaboration to be justified. Like, how does it benefit my own company? That's the only thing. And so it's the same principle with the America First. They're not against America having allies or having good relationships with other nations. Like, notice how they're not complaining about America having connections with Japan or America dealing with Taiwan. They're not against that, right? Like, they're fine with America cooperating on the international scale. They're even fine with America doing business with Russia. We saw recently Trump talking about lifting tariffs if the war stops, and then having American companies go and work in Russia. I haven't heard anyone from the MAGA base being upset. Why? Because they view as that being advantageous for America. They're getting something out of it. And so why are they upset recently when it comes to America's policy with Israel? Well, first and foremost, they hate the censorship too. They notice that every single time they want to talk about it, it's kind of like walking on eggshells, because the nation of Israel and anti-Semite is one on the same, as if criticizing America's policies is criticizing secularism, right? Like, you're criticizing multiculturalism if you're criticizing America's policies. No one thinks that way, right? Or if you criticize China's policies, you're criticizing communism. But for some reason, Israel is like the only nation on earth that if you criticize its policies, you're anti-Semitic. It's as if you're criticizing Jewish people within America. But the second reason is they do not see that Israel is showing respect to America. And I don't know if this is true or not, but what I do know is that the optics are really bad. And so, because of the optics, because of their interest, it's like, how does this benefit me mentality? Well, the own voter base of Donald Trump is starting to move against him. And it's possible that all of these issues put together creates a different culture. Where, sure, you can influence which politician gets elected, but over a long period of time, a lot of average citizens, a lot of the individuals, they are going to just stop voting for the politicians you like. Now, politicians, sure, they lie. Sometimes they're corrupt. They have their own interests. But I think like what a politician cares the most is to get reelected or to create a legacy or to be able to become the kingmaker, to be able to tell the people, I want you to be able to elect this guy after me. And that is their primary concern. And so if this is their primary concern, well, they're going to have to tackle the issue of Israel differently. And what I think Trump is doing, especially if you have the America First mentality, is that he wants to say enough. And the question is, how can he say enough? Because again, we're in a political climate where if you criticize anything, all of a sudden you're being viewed as anti-Semitic. If you're being viewed as anti-Semitic, you lose donors, right? Because it's also like a strong guilt by association. Why are you donating to this anti-Semitic guy? Are you anti-Semitic too? Right? So you lose donors, you lose backers, you have the media censor you. And so Donald Trump, I think, is one of the best right-wingers. Usually the left is good at this, but I think Donald Trump is one of the best right-wingers at forming coalitions. The right-wingers haven't formed coalitions up until now, which is why they were constantly losing. But Donald Trump is one of the first right-wingers, probably because he used to be a Democrat, and he actually did form a strong coalition. But now it's time to choose which one of the coalition members he wants to keep and which ones he wants to distance himself from. It's not like a meticulous evil thing that he is doing. He's assessing, which one of the coalition members are useful and which ones aren't. Not to him, but to the nation, to his legacy. And this is built around the behavior that the coalition members are displaying. If a coalition member is behaving the same or is behaving in a neutral manner, he keeps. If a coalition member is all of a sudden becoming a little bit difficult to maintain or they're losing popularity, he distances himself from it. And this is normal in politics, by the way. Like, this is how politics work around the world. This is not something particular to Trump. And so the thing with Benjamin Netanyahu is that it's very difficult to criticize him without being labeled anti-Semitic. So he has to play a smart game. He can't just accuse him of stuff. He can't just go after him. Because, again, AIPAC exists. Donald Trump requires the cooperation of the Republican Party in order to keep passing legislation. And what I think he's doing is by saying that, he is arrogant. And chances are Donald Trump may be right. Because at the end of the day, like Benjamin Netanyahu is a man. And he has worked with a lot of other American presidents. And so chances are that he always got what he wanted. And when you constantly get what you want, you kind of forget yourself. Again, this is normal human behavior. This is not something that is particular to Benjamin. Like if you go to your boss and you realize that your boss is a pushover and you can get what you want from him, I guarantee to you that over the period of 1 year, that's going to become a very toxic relationship. And most people do this subconsciously. They don't realize that they're doing it. That they're not bad people. But human beings are very hierarchical. And so if you constantly dominate a person that you don't even want to dominate, like they simply just subjugate themselves to you, over the course of time, many humans are going to view that person from a position of inferiority. Very few people are actually capable of realizing what they're doing and trying to change. Most people just subconsciously, through body language, through the type of requests that you add, through your behavior, all of this together is going to make you act as if you're better than the other person. And so I think this is what Donald Trump is capitalizing on. And he's basically saying, he's insulting me. And of course his base is going to support him. The left is going to support him because they don't really care if another politician is insulting Trump or not. But they can see, okay, now is the time to get our win. Like we always wanted to see a president that stands up to Israel. Now we got one. It's not our guy. We don't like it. But on this particular issue, on this particular topic, we're going to support him. And I think this is what you're going to see on Twitch. This is what you're going to see on many other content creators on the left, all of a sudden supporting Donald Trump on this issue. People on the right that are afraid to be called anti-Semitic, they'll be like, well, I mean, why is he disrespecting the president? And it's a legitimate question, right? Especially that picture that came up with Donald Trump putting the chair to Benjamin and stuff. You know, like the optics, basically. And if you look back, there are other U.S. presidents that also, behind closed doors, said like negative thing about the Israeli prime minister. And so, this is the game, I think. And the game is played with, Trump slowly leaking, quote unquote, that he may recognize Palestine. Telling that Saudi Arabia doesn't really have to align itself with Israel policy anymore in order to work with America. You know, like these small things, just like planting the seeds of doubt here and there. Now, this can be done for two reasons. Number one, he genuinely wants America to distance itself from Israeli policy. Possible, but very difficult. Number two, maybe he actually wants something from Israel. And he's basically showing it's like, look, I can do bad things to good people. What are the bad things? I can recognize Palestine. I can tell my allies that our relationship doesn't evolve around your foreign policy. And so, like, he basically says, look, I got a lot of soft power. Like you guys, I know what you're doing. There's a lot of people in the Republican Party that would hate it if I was to do anything against your policy. But I got other cards. I can do other things that have nothing to do with internal affairs. Do you really want to get to that point? I think this is what's happening. I think this is what Trump is doing. He's trying to build himself up for the negotiation table. What is he going to negotiate? I have no idea. But again, when you see stuff like the United States is going to take over Gaza, and I remember like Benjamin Netanyahu like looking at him like, what the fuck? You know? Like stuff like that that's happening. I think like all of them are part of negotiations that are happening behind closed doors, which the public isn't privy of. And so it will take a little bit of time for us to see where this is coming to. But it does look interesting. I never thought in my life that I will see a U.S. president playing hardball with Israel. Like, I can see a U.S. president playing hardball with Ukraine. I can see one playing hardball with the European Union. With Canada, okay, you know, Canada, I didn't see that either. So, like, Canada and Israel, like two nations that the U.S. president is now playing hardball with. Never thought that I would see it in my life. Let me know what you guys think, though. And as usual, I'll see you in the comment section. And if you want to support the channel, there's a link into the pinned comment. I could really use your support. And I'll see you guys next time. Take care.